of these yet. I saw that 6 this morning.
Aggregate okay, what?
Yes, I see it.
Well, we don't have anything.
And then maintain.
They were already
higher.
Yeah.
Alright, this is important.
So there's an obstacle right there.
Well, I live in kind of a cold little hollow in Pennsylvania, so we're pretty good on the flower.
Yeah, I don't know that I have.
Yeah, that's cold up there.
Yeah.
I've done some solar.
Okay, cool. All right. Thanks.
What's that? Oh, yes, the
The gap.
Yes.
with us last time.
With every.
Okay, we're on to
Wow.
screening.
Okay, so
And Vinny is
around
pulling
the
in
corner.
and parking right
Oh,
now.
good.
Okay.
Oh, so all that didn't matter.
Yeah,
Because it was poor. How's it going?
Mike says we're up and streaming. Can you see us? Okay. Well. You hear and see it. Okay, so you'll. Can you just troubleshoot in a moment? Because we're about to start. It looks good, so maybe we're okay. Yeah, so you can take the messages down if you haven't put them up. Maybe you put one up that says we're having intermittent issues. You can try, but yeah, let's do that. Okay. Okay. Sounds like a plan. Thank you. All right, bye.
Connectivity issues.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And when he's on his way, here he comes.
Is that quorum?
Yep. Yes. He's on the phone.
I love Texas. No, I didn't visit.
We have journalism on class.
Good. Hi, Benny.
Hi, Vincent.
It's like that dramatic entrance.
You won't wait for me.
So where's Ron's voice coming out of here? Shelley? Shelley?
Yeah.
Ron's voice is where do we hear Ron from? Here,
Uh,
down below?
We should hear him from the speakers.
I'm here.
Oh,
He's there.
You're right there, loud and clear. Hi, Ron. Over to see you.
Yeah.
Everybody comfortable? Oh, good. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. And first I want to welcome some journalist students are here, correct? Who's here? Just one?
No, there's a few more.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Whole class? Oh, good. Well, I hope you find it interesting. I don't think there's going to be quite as much activity as the last meeting. However, you're welcome to write down anything you care to. You can editorialize. I'm giving you permission, even if your professor doesn't. So you can all compare your notes later. So welcome.
Of course, he's not grading your report. So.
Exactly. First of all, I know that Ron's on the. You're down there, Ron? Hello, Ron.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great. Okay, so we have, I say, quorum here present, and welcome everybody. And first, I'd like to ask for approval of the minutes from the February 21st meeting. Are there any additions, corrections, deletions? Anybody?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Hi.
Now, Nadella, I don't think you have a report, but if you care to make any remarks, you could. That'd be on my agenda. It says don't have a report, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're going to skip over and ask for the President's report.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to say a couple things about the Hasbrook Building Names project that's occupied so much of our time and attention for the last several months. First, I want to thank the Council for your action at our last meeting to support the resolution to change the names. I know that this is a very difficult issue. I appreciate the way that you wrestled with that. Right from the very start, we knew that this would be an issue that there would not be unanimity on, and so I'm grateful for your work there. I do want to share a story with, particularly for the Council, conversation I had at a basketball game, Friday night basketball game last weekend. Gentleman sitting in front of me turned and he said, I know you're sort of off duty, but as president, you're probably never really off duty, are you? And I said, no, I guess not. And he went on to explain to me that his surname is one of the names on one of the Hasbrook complex buildings. His middle name is Elting, and he said, you might guess that I'm not particularly very respectful, very cordial in the conversation, said that you might guess that I'm not particularly enthused about your action to change the names. And I said, I understand that. I know that no matter how we acted on that, we would leave some people disappointed. I went on to explain to him, and he didn't know this, and I think it's a lesson for all of us as we move ahead. He did not know that we were taking steps to be sure that we tell the full history of our campus and the region more openly and honestly. And he was quite relieved and pleased to hear that we would have, as part of that project, a way to showcase the many positive contributions of the Huguenot descendants, as well as dealing with the issue of the economic and racial legacies of slavery. So that was, I thought, a useful story for all of us engaged in this process to remember that we have to keep reminding everyone that the action we're taking is not merely to change the names on the building, but also to portray our history much more fully and openly. And also, it was my conversation with him was a good lesson in reaching across difference, and I think that's another piece that we all need to continue paying attention to. For the Council, you'll consider today a set of names that emerged from a very careful process by a working group that was led by Council Member Vinnie Casalino. That the names that you're considering have the force of more than 3,000 survey respondents, so there's a good basis of information there. I'll share a couple other items for the College Council, a little more aligned with the more typical report that I give, some things going on campus. The first one is that we have a nearly 20% growth over last year spring semester in our graduate enrollment. Our undergraduate enrollment is slightly ahead of last year, and that's very important for our economy, as well as for our mission of continuing to educate students at both of those levels in New York. Council may be interested in knowing that we have a budget forum next week. Vice President Halstead and a number of others of us will be presenting about our current budget situation and the way we're working through the challenges that we face. I reported recently to the faculty that I've appointed our Chief Diversity Officer as a formal member of the Cabinet, and we did so to reflect the importance of inclusion work in all that we're doing, and bringing those perspectives of the Chief Diversity Officer into all of our institutional decision making. I also want to say a few things about athletics, some real highlights here to share. We had a record 3 SUNYAC championships this fall. Never happened before in women's tennis, field hockey, women's volleyball. The men's basketball team has had the best season in more than 2 decades. That season's ended now. The women's basketball team has had a truly phenomenal season. They now have a 21-game winning streak. They won the SUNYAC championship in a nail-biter contest over Geneseo. They entered the NCAA championship last weekend, won in the first round and in the second round. So they're now part of what's referred to, for students, you may not know this, the Sweet 16. There are 16 teams left in the NCAA tournament, and our team plays Bowdoin College in Maine this Friday. I get a chance to talk with a lot of parents at basketball games, all kinds of athletic events, and they often tell me that their child is a better student because they're an athlete. And I know that the athletic program puts priority on helping everyone understand that they're a student first and an athlete second, and we see that in their academic performance. The men's grade point average for every one of the men's teams this fall increased over last year. The women's GPAs stayed the same, but they're already a lot higher than the men's. So we're proud of that academic achievement of our student athletes. So I'll stop there unless anybody has questions.
No, I want to thank you very much. And I also want to thank you for your leadership in what was certainly extremely controversial issue regarding the namings of the buildings. And it was, I think, an opportunity for diverse opinion to be brought forward, but moreover to bring, I would say, eventually the campus together. And that's kind of why we're here now, is to bring it together, to give names that will give comfort to all. I'm thinking likely they'll reflect the geography here, but by the same token, give proper respect to the founders of the community here in an appropriate way. It was not an easy thing to do. It took tremendous leadership, also a tremendous amount of perseverance, and a lot of hard work and soul searching for many people to come to this resolution. And I would say that it was worth it. It was hard and difficult with a lot of bumps in the road, but I think the ultimate product is going to be better for the campus community, better for the students, and I think better going forward as an institution, because it'll welcome diversity, it will help with a comfort level in the students, and by the same token give respect to the history of where we are. And that's not an easy thing to do. There are cross currents, and it took hard work, leadership, and some backbone and fortitude to do it. So I want to thank you personally for that.
Thank you.
Likewise Nadella and the faculty and the students who participated in the process. Thank you. Okay. Now Vince, I know you're going to bring us forward in another direction and done some hard work in studying what would be then prospective names, and now they're going to be coming to the forefront. So could you share
a resolution?
A resolution.
Okay, I am going to make the resolution to replace the names of Huguenot patentees in the Hasbrook residential complex with alternate names with local meaning and geographical significance. This council heard these names last time, and this is a shorter version of the resolution. All right, I'm submitting it. I recommend that the SUNY New Paltz College Council adopt the following resolution. Whereas the study group on alternate names for the Hasbrook Building Complex was created by the SUNY New Paltz College Council at its November 1st, 2018 meeting and charged on November 15th, 2018 by Interim Chair of the College Council Eli Bosch and SUNY New Paltz President Donald Christian, with soliciting replacement names for the Hasbrook Complex buildings via a campus-wide electronic survey. And whereas the study group was asked to develop a semi-final list of 10 names for the President's Cabinet to consider and recommend to the College Council, and the study group was to make clear that current SUNY policy does not allow for honorific names of buildings without a substantial financial gift. And whereas the study group prepared and sent a survey on December 10th, 2018 that remained open until January 31st, 2019 to 36,902 alumni, 7,720 students, 1,650 college employees and retirees and many community members, and received a total of 3,107 responses. And whereas the survey responses indicated that the most popular category, with 78% of participants selecting strongly favor or favor, was names with local meaning. And whereas, based on its review of the survey results and its deliberations, the study group recommended the following 11 names, which I'm going to read to you, not in priority order, for consideration as consistent with campus community sentiment to identify names that speak to our special location. Maritanza Hall, Pond Hall, Awasting Hall, Minnewaska Hall, Mohonk Hall, Hawk Hall, Peregrine Hall, Ashokan Hall, Sunset Hall, Tamarack Hall, and Schwangunk Hall. And whereas the College Council on February 21st, 2019 voted 4-3 in favor of the resolution to remove the current names on the Hasbrook complex buildings, and whereas College Council member me, Vincent Castellino, presented the findings of the study group to the council at its February 21st, 2019 meeting, therefore be it resolved that the College Council recommends that the campus assign the following new names to the residence halls in the Hasbrook complex, following the strong recommendation of the study group, giving the campus president discretion in assigning particular names to each building. So these are the names: Mohonk Hall, Minnewaska Hall, Awasting Hall, Shawangunk Hall, and Ashokan Hall. And be it further resolved that the dining hall be renamed Peregrine Dining Hall to commemorate the recovery of the peregrine falcon from its virtual eradication in eastern North America in the middle of the 20th century due to pesticide poisoning, symbolizing that positive change is possible. And be it further resolved that the College Council authorizes the President to develop a single resolution about removing and replacing these names for consideration by the Board of Trustees of the State University of New York at the earliest possible opportunity.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. Now, is there any discussion? Anybody have anything to say other than me, which is, you know, captive audience? Anybody? Yeah, I know we went over this last time, and I appreciate the hard work that the committee did. Certainly made a fairly exhaustive study of the subject matter, and my own personal feelings, as you know, are that by reflecting the geographic place where we are and where the students are going to look at and see and hopefully enjoy when they're not studying and in classrooms, to give some meaning to where they are in the world, and also the restoration of the peregrine falcon. I remember, you know, native was not without controversy when it went on. It was a very difficult thing for Professor Menz to do, or Hans Menz to do, and they accomplished something. And I think that it stands as a very appropriate name for where our students will congregate and eat and be.
I have a question, a clarification,
Sure.
just that so our study group gave 11 names, and I'm just reflecting, those names can all be put forward, and it would be the discretion of the president or consulting with the cabinet. I'm not clear about.
I think it's going to be the resolution is for the five names: Mohonk, Minnewaska, Wasting, Shawangunk, and Ashokan, to be the names of the respective residence halls, and then to have Peregrine Dining Hall for the dining. That's what the resolution culminates.
I'm looking at two lists of names.
Culminates with.
But I think the discretion there is that the resolution suggests that the cabinet and I decide which name gets attached to which building.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not sure which building is going to get which specific name.
Okay.
I think that will be when. I think that will that be presented to the trustees, or will it be presented as these buildings get named? I'm not really sure of the mechanics of that, but I know these are the names. Likely will be approved. Ultimately, it's their power to do so. And just in my way of thinking, Robin, isn't whether it's like 11 names, it's where they are going to be placed. Is that your question?
Yeah, no, I wasn't clear. I had two different sets of minutes, and one listed suggestions of 5 halls. These are a different combination. It was a question about the name of the dining hall, if that is being decided, or it's at a discretion, et cetera. That the motion is to do this.
These 5, and they can put them on whichever building they want.
I see, thank you.
Except Peregrine attached to
Except
the
for
dining hall.
Peregrine is recommendation for the dining hall specifically.
And Eleanor?
Yeah, I propose that we adopt these names.
Thank you. And as I told you in our brief discussion before the meeting, that those are the names, when I read the list at first, that came out as the ones I would like.
I thought that too.
So I think it's pretty ultimate, easy decision to select those names. So
I wonder if for our students in particular it would be useful to take just a minute and talk about where those names come from. Would that be helpful?
So what did the study group?
Yeah, we have the
have it
origins.
there, yeah.
Robin, do you have them in
Yes,
front of you?
yeah.
Can you help
We
with
have
this?
them here.
Sure.
Thanks.
Is that right?
Yes, please.
So the history
Let's just do the 5 weeks.
Awasting?
Well, let's
Yes.
just do the 5 then. Mohonk,
Okay, Mohonk is it says corruption, but it's an adaptation of the Delaware Indian word Mohonk, which came to believe known as lake in the sky. So that's how it is interpreted. Mohonk is lake in the sky.
Minnewaska.
Minnewaska combines two Dakota or Sioux words, mini or minna for many, and washta or waska for water, meaning good good water.
Awasting.
Awasting is adapted from the Native American Munsee word Iskawasting, meaning place in the grassy hills, place of grassy hills.
Schwanka.
So several of those are names of sky lakes up on the Mohonk Ridge.
Shawangunk is a Lenape name for in the smoky air.
And Ashokan.
And Ashokan is Iroquois for place of fish.
Again, Ashokan is one of the major reservoirs in the New York City water supply system.
But most people.
And it should be noted that the college for many decades owned the Ashokan Field Campus,
Which is still active.
which is still a very active nature center and cultural center.
Yes, so they all, sure.
I just wanted to add,
Sure.
in addition, this is the only name that's not right here, but it was one of the ones that received the highest support in the survey.
Yeah,
Which one?
Ashokan.
Oh, yeah.
Ashokan, yeah, I mean, I've been through many iterations,
There's a
over
reservoir.
50 years ago, I went
Everybody
up there
knows
to
it.
camp, and for many, many, many years and then after when I was just, how would I say, out of school and went up there to play. It was a wonderful place. They would have the soccer camp when we were national champs. They would be up there at the field campus, as it was called, for many years. And so it has a great affinity to the institution and certainly appropriate to be reflected in the name of a residence hall. And the other ones, likewise, are very local, close geographic names that give life to the area, and they're on everybody's, if not now, tongue later. Mohonk, Minnewaska, Awasting, Shawangunk, and Ashokan are all names I think are well suited for residency. Any other discussion? Yeah, sure.
I would like
Nadella?
to, she wasn't mentioned here, but I would like to also thank Michelle Tejada, the LASU president, who was also a part of this group as well, with the names, possible names. So I would like to thank her for that, because she knows.
Great. Yeah, I think it was good work and wonderful results. So thank you all. And call for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Well, listen to Ronald.
Yes.
Ron?
I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you. And so all in favor, 5-0? Thank you. And then you'll be authorized to bring it to the trustees and hopefully move things forward.
Thank you.
Quickly. And the names will remain the same as they are now until the renaming, which there'll probably be an appropriate ceremony when that occurs. For safety reasons, buildings have to have names, and so those are the names for if there was a fire or any type of emergency to identify the building. So the names will remain in effect until they're actually changed, and that's likely probably the fall. And again, I'll thank this study group. I don't think we're not going to, Vice President Halstead, we're not going to have a budget. It's 2 weeks from the last meeting. There's nothing really to be updated. I know that Shelley's going to be working for the next meeting date so we can all
Yes.
come together. That probably would be
In April.
April?
Yeah.
Great, great. Is there any other old business? Any new business?
I might share, just for information, that we're too late in the cycle to reach the Board of Trustees March meeting. The trustees do not meet in April, and so we will try to have a resolution in front of them for their May meeting.
That's May 7th and 8th
Yeah.
So it is possible.
at Geneseo.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody want to move for adjournment?
I move to adjourn.
Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
All right, have a good day.
Take
You
care,
too.
Ron.
This is what means the Board of Education meeting I'm covering tonight.